Hi everyone, it's Anthony here, and I figured I'll share my model trains with you today. And I have them in a hutch for now. They seem to work pretty well because I'm able to use them, run them on the layout, and then put them back fairly easily. So, all right. So what we have up here. Basically I'll start from the top and work my way down. Up here I actually have a bunch of Southern Pacific passenger coaches. They are Adern, so don't have much details on them, but I like the color scheme on Southern Pacific, so the daylight's color scheme, so I kept them. And over here we have a couple of European passenger cars. Reason I have these is because you'll find out very soon. I actually run both North American as well as European locomotives and rolling stock on my layout. I like the characteristics of both of them, so I figured let me also have some rolling stock for the European locomotives as well. So these two are SNCF, which are your French railroad, and as you can see, they've got the iconic buffers that are very prevalent in Europe, but not in North America. And so those are meant for my European locomotives. And over here I have some Amtrak cars, passenger cars. Now these ones are, I have quite a few of these actually, and I'll share with you the locomotives I plan to use to consist with. Now this one here is a Bachmann lighted car, and these I have about 4 or 5 of those, and I have a few of these as well. And these are your observation cars there by Adern. And over here are some period correct passenger cars that will go with a specific steam locomotive, which I will share with you in a bit. Okay, so coming over to the second row here, this is a Bachmann 484. It does suffer from the notorious Bachmann gear wheel problem, but I've already fixed it up since then, and it runs fine. It is I believe it is a Canadian National. Yes, it is a Canadian National. That's how long the tender is. It's huge. And this one here is a Constellation Chattanooga. You can see there. And it is a 280. This one's actually a Tyco model. It's the only Tyco model that I actually have. And the only reason I'm actually keeping this one is because I like the little smoke unit on this one, and it still works well, and it's got a tender drive on it, so it's easy to maintain as well. Very noisy, but it still runs well. This one here is a Berkshire class locomotive. It's a 284, I believe, and this one's built by Rivarossi. It's an amazing locomotive. I love Rivarossi steam locomotives. They have some really good motors on them, but actually have ball bearings on them as well. So instead of just bushings, as most of the motors, so they're fairly solid, as far as I'm concerned. All right, and over here you'll see a locomotive I'm sure you can recognize. It is a Southern Pacific Daylight GS4, a very popular locomotive, a beautiful color scheme. This one did suffer from the notorious gear wheel problem, so obviously you know that this is a Bachmann. But I've fixed it since, and it now runs. Not the best runner, but it actually runs pretty decent. And this one here is a Baltimore and Ohio President Washington Royal Blue locomotive. It's a Pacific class locomotive, And this it's a 462, and this is the one that actually runs with these period correct coaches, passenger cars. And this one also is a River Rossi, and it's got that same type of motor I was referring to before, with the ball bearings on it, and it runs extremely well. So pretty pleased with the River Rossi steam locomotives. This one here is another Bachmann 484, and this one is a Burlington route locomotive. And so far it has not is a Bachmann as well, as it hasn't had any problems with the gears so far. So fingers crossed, it seems to be running well so far. Okay, and over here we have a couple of British Rail steam locomotives. The first one here is a British Class B1 Thomson steam locomotive. It's a 460, and it is with on an LNER livery. What I've done to this one actually is I've put in an ESU loc sound on it, so and it sounds really good on it, and it is a Bachmann branch line and runs really well. This one here is also a British Rail tank locomotive. They call them, I think it's a 5700 Pannier tank locomotive for Great West Railway, and this one is also a Bachmann.